Hey, welcome back to this edition of WizeNotes. Today we're going to be talking about JD Tremblay and his book called Hunger for More. So I want to ask you a question. What separates those who achieve the impossible from those who settle for ordinary? Today on this version of WizeNotes, we're going to explore the mindset of JD Tremblay. He's the author of this book called Hunger for More, and one of only 3 people in the world to compete in the EPIC DECA, a feat so extreme that it's never going to be attempted again. Now, visualize this if you would. 10 consecutive Ironman triathlons across 6 Hawaiian islands in just 10 days. So let's add up the math. That's 14,106 miles of swimming, cycling, and running, and virtually no rest. 10 people registered for this ultimate test of human endurance, and only 6 showed up at the starting line, and only 3 finished. Well, obviously JD was one of them, but what makes this remarkable is just that somebody could compete at this superhuman level. It's quite a feat. It's how he transformed and could have been a purely physical challenge into something much deeper, a spiritual voyage that would reshape his understanding of human potential. Now, in Hunger for More, the book, JD reveals that his greatest discovery wasn't about this physical endurance. It was about stripping away everything superficial to focus on what truly matters. When his body began shutting down after the 4th Ironman, when his crew had to wheelchair him to the plane on his birthday, something beyond physical strength carried him forward. This wasn't about having superpowers or being genetically gifted. JD describes himself as someone with flaws and weaknesses, just like anyone else. The difference was his preparation, not just physical, but mental and spiritual. He'd created a detailed 30-page plan where quitting simply wasn't an option. But here's the profound insight. The real battle wasn't against the distance, the elements, or even physical exhaustion. It was against the internal voices, the whispers of doubt, and the war we all fight within ourselves. So, from this extreme experience, JD developed what he calls the DECA philosophy. It's a framework that extends far beyond athletes. He says DECA stands for D is disciplined, E is endurance, C is competence, and A is action. But here's where his approach differs from typical goal-setting advice. Instead of starting with passion or picking exciting goals, JD insists we must first anchor ourselves in a defined set of values. Whether you're a plumber, salesperson, or CEO, the key isn't chasing someone else's definition of success. It's excelling in your area of competence while staying true to your core values. This isn't about balance, JD argues in his book. It's about alignment. There are times when you focus intensely on certain goals and other times when family takes precedence. The key is having the courage to make these choices based on your values, not external pressures or emotions. So, JD honestly has been very honest in this book about his personal struggles that makes this achievement even more remarkably. He openly discusses battles with addiction, divorce, and childhood trauma. The hardest challenge wasn't competing 10 Ironmans. It was learning to stop, to rest, and to be vulnerable with others when his primary coping mechanism was removed. He said after this EPIC DECA, his body entered a state where he couldn't feel anything, not freezing cold baths, not warm showers. He had pushed himself far beyond normal human limits. That sensation itself had shut down. The real test became learning when to stop pushing and start healing. So today, JD channels his extreme mindset into helping others through his Hunger Warrior Academy and extensive philanthropic work. He takes this message to impoverished communities in Mexico and Costa Rica, organizing cycling events for children who may have never had the resources to compete in any kind of level. His work with CEOs and business leaders reveals a crucial insight. Sometimes the people who appear most successful are fighting the hardest internal battles. So when a CEO struggles with addiction or burnout, it isn't just one person affected. Entire companies and thousands of employees can suffer the consequences. So, what can we learn from someone who pushes human endurance to its absolute limits? JD's message is really simple in Hunger for More. Isn't that we need to compete or complete impossible athletic feats. It's more practical and profound. He said, first, spiritual discipline equals freedom. When you anchor yourself in solid values and have the discipline to live by them consistently, you're not consistently negotiating with excuses or being ruled by emotions. He said, second, competence matters more than passion. Instead of chasing what excites you, focus on what you're naturally gifted at and pursue excellence in that area. And third, support is everything. Whether you're battling addiction, pursuing extreme goals, or simply trying to live a meaningful life, community and relationships are essential for both achievement and recovery. So JD Tremblay's stories reminds us that our greatest limitations aren't physical, they're mental and spiritual. The hunger for more isn't about achieving the impossible for its own sake. It's about discovering who we are and who we're capable of becoming when we align our actions with our deepest values and refuse to negotiate with the excuses that keep us small. So whether you're facing your own epic challenge or simply trying to break through the next level, JD's journey shows us that extraordinary achievement starts with ordinary decisions, choosing your values and having the discipline to live by them one day at a time. To learn more about JD's philosophy and his book, Hunger for More, just go to Hunger, Hunger, the number 4 more.com. Also, you can push the button here and listen to the full podcast on Inside Personal Growth. We'd appreciate you doing that. And we'll have a link to his book to purchase it on Amazon in the show notes. So thanks for listening to this edition of WizeNote. I appreciate you all. And come back for more on personal growth insights. And in this case, how to be an extreme performer, no matter what it is. Thanks so much.